knows what anybody goes through to become the person we are today. We're born into the world facing the hopes, dreams, fears, and judgments of others from the moment we take our first breath. For most of us, we disappoint our parents, siblings, even mentors. For me, the second I was born, I faced the disappointment of a whole nation. In 1987, my life on Earth began in the bullseye of eugenics. It was the last 3 years of USSR regime. Arriving earlier than planned to a mom of 17, it was a breached birth. I suffered leg and hip injuries at the hands of negligent doctors. My mother didn't get to see me for the first 5 days. The hospital had assumed she wouldn't want to. The system was ready to discard of me straight into an orphanage. Being deemed not physically normal almost cost my life. And that happened in this lifetime. It was a miracle that my mother fought for my survival. By age 6, the damaged nerves resulting from that injury stalled the growth of my leg. I was hospitalized on and off for the next 5 years, enduring a series of 15 experimental operations. No one should go through the brutal confinement and procedures that I went through, whether it's 6 or 60. But that is when I found an escape. Disney fairy tales like Little Mermaid and Hollywood films affirmed that imagination is the only weapon against reality. At 12, my family moved to London in search of a better life. Arriving with no education, no language, and an unstable home life, I took to the vastness of the city in search of empowerment. That is when I found the adult version of Disney. I got immersed in subculture scene of art, fashion, and performance, where avant-garde identities used body as canvas, body as art protest, embodying art itself. That was not science fiction. That was sci-fi in real life. That raw and moving experience of bodily transformation, combined with fairy tales, would guide me to what would become the biggest decision of my life. At 15, armed with courage to reimagine my disability, I went to the surgeons and asked them to amputate my withered, painful leg. If my biology defined my destiny and my value, then I was ready to define myself. I was ready to become my own body architect. But there was just one problem. The idea of our human wholeness and what makes us who we are is so dangerously linked to our bodies being intact that despite all the evidence that I would greatly benefit from a prosthetic, my operation was declined. 5 years of waiting and pain and consultations and years of my own research. I went to the original surgeons and told them that I will not leave that room until he grants me my wish. And he did. But as I waited for my operation in anticipation of my new prosthetic, I questioned, why do we get served a technology that feels like a punishment when we're the most vulnerable? And that is when I knew that I had to design my own prosthetics. I embarked on a lifelong passion of reimagining the human body. Sculptural prosthetics and fashion became something much more than a costume change for my identity. Designing my own limbs has exposed an embodied design philosophy, reminiscent of the Japanese tradition of kintsugi, where the repair is performed with gold. In 2012, I starred in the London Paralympic closing ceremony. Stepping out to a crowd of 90,000 people and millions watching at home, I went on that stage wearing a diamond leg and costume. It was a true Cinderella moment for me. My leg had transformed from a life sentence into an object of awe and desire. 3 years later, the UK's Channel 4 would bring me into the biggest disability rebranding experiment on the planet. The image of disability in pop culture began to change forever. There's more of that. The music and art video prototype from the Born Risky campaign went viral as a cultural phenomenon, branding me as the world's first bionic pop artist. But cutting through the noise of global hype and headlines, it became clear that the inclusivity agenda around the world had barely scratched the surface. In business terms, it was just a nice story. I knew that I had to work much harder to demonstrate that our adverse life experiences are not baggage. They're an opportunity, an insight into creative solutions. The image and content created challenged the very idea of who and what defines ability. It became an SOS call around the globe, linking inventors and designers from all fields around a campfire that was the future of human identity. That's when I discovered that science is magic. With no formal education, I was invited to the MIT Media Lab as a director's fellow. My world of knowledge changed. I started daydreaming of enabling technologies far beyond the boundaries of restoring ability. No longer bound by the medical and societal lens of disability, I was ready to take the altered body into all arenas of human expression. In brand partnerships, we created an embodiment of Black Badge for Rolls-Royce. With full creative control and my team of almost all female designers, we created a daring vision of a woman fitted with the most advanced 3D prosthetics and fashion, and the world's smallest Tesla coil inside my leg and shoe. The explosion of the metaverse made an easy transition from my real-life avatar work into the virtual space. For Time Magazine's Build a Better Future NFT drop, we built a Bionic and Meta avatars. Set in a serene womb-like oasis, the control room is a symbolic reminder of creation with values and purpose in these constructed realities. And most recently, the space frontier. 3 weeks ago, I was aboard my second zero-gravity research flight as an ambassador for Mission Astro Access, an initiative aimed at advancing inclusivity in space. Suddenly, all limitations of Earth's gravity had no meaning. Ultimately, I have learned that inclusivity and awareness alone are just not enough. The products we tell, the products we make, the stories we tell, where imagination meets necessity, these are all areas that we need to innovate in to make sure that we go beyond inclusion and into cultural integration.